And to exactly understand what panned out in the parliament today when these three contentious bills were introduced amid ruckus and opposition, I'm joined by Kabir Naqvi, my colleague in the studio itself. Well, Kabir, take us through what exactly does this bill entail? What exactly happened? Take us through what are the fine prints of this bill and against what is the opposition exactly protesting?
You're absolutely right. There are three bills. The opposition says that these are now contentious bills, fiery speeches that took place in the parliament as well. K.C. Venugopal hitting out at, Union Home Minister Amit Shah. He said that back in Gujarat, you got jailed when you were the Gujarat Home Minister. So shouldn't you fall under the ambit of this entire bill? And those are the visuals. Those are the, if one could say this is the picture of the day coming from the parliament with those, torn pieces of that particular bill flying right in front of the face of the Union Home Minister, even as he's tabling these three now contentious bills. So first up, let's take you through what this bill is. Let's break that down for our viewers. Now, the bill to remove the arrested prime ministers and the chief ministers, union ministers of states, and of course the state cabinet ministers as well. Amit Shah has tabled those bills. Prime ministers, chief ministers to be removed if jailed for 30 days. So if you've sort of attracted a jail offence that now means 5 years plus jail time and you're still in custody for 30 days, irrespective of conviction or not, you can be removed. It applies to offences with 5+ years jail term only. And let's also take a look at what other key points come from the bill. The president, the governors are going to act against the jailed minister. So who will remove whom? You've got the president who removes the prime minister. The prime minister calls on, the governor calls on for the removal of the chief minister. The chief minister calls on for the removal of his own state ministers or her state ministers. And finally, the lieutenant governor removes the chief ministers to the union territories and those particular leaders. Now, reappointment is of course possible. There is no bar on reappointment. Once you're out of the jail, once you've been acquitted, you can well apply for reappointment. And amendments to Articles 75, 164 and 239AA have been proposed by the Union Home Minister as part of those three contentious bills. For Union Territories of Puducherry and Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, separate outlines have been detailed. Proposed changes through any only constitutional amendment, which is part of the three bills that the Union Home Minister has in fact placed on table. But whilst we're talking about what has changed, let's take you through some of the differences between what was happening earlier and what this bill now proposes to change or aims to change. There was no mandatory removal on arrest, but with the advent of this bill now, if it's passed, if it becomes an act, it makes the removal mandatory on arrest. 30 days. And whether you're convicted or not, you've got to step down, you've got to relinquish your post. No provisions for automatic removal. That was what was prevalent before. Now, with the advent of this bill, automatic removal after 30 days, be it a prime minister, be it a chief minister, if nothing happens on the 30th day. With the prime minister's case, the prime minister themselves should recommend them stepping down. If that doesn't happen, well, the president kicks it in, and the same happens for chief ministers and, well, their higher ups. Earlier on, there was no clarity on reappointment, but now there is clear-cut clarity. Once you're out, once you're acquitted, there is no bar that stops you. Reappointment allowed once you are released. And disqualification if the conviction with sentence of 2+ years, that's what happened earlier. Remember the Rahul Gandhi case of defamation. People were saying, he'll have to step down. He relinquished his post. All of that happened. He got reinstated as a member of parliament. So earlier on, the criminal charges were 2 years. That was the operative portion. But now that changes to 5 years now. Removal on arrest for offences with 5+ years will draw this particular, it will activate this bill, if one could say so. And whilst we're talking about these changes, let's tell you about some case studies as well. Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi elections were recently concluded. He was arrested. He was behind bars for 5+ months. So again, more than 30 days, he wouldn't have even been out, campaigning for those elections. And not just Arvind Kejriwal, several other Aam Aadmi Party leaders. Manish Sisodia, as Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, he was behind bars for 530 days. With Manish Sisodia comes Satyendra Jain next. Satyendra Jain was behind bars for a whopping long time. He was behind bars for almost 900 days. And this is not just the Aam Aadmi Party. We've got another example for you. Senthil Balaji, as Tamil Nadu Minister, was behind bars for 471 days. And this is where the political war of words actually ensues, Samya, and for the viewers as well, because the opposition says that this is very arbitrary. You can't remove these chief ministers while fighting electoral polls, and this is why some sort of this move has come where you're going to use the central agencies to destabilize. Amit Shah says that this is being done so that nobody can cast any sort of aspersion on our leaders. They've been elected to do the people's bidding, and that's why they're there. No ray of suspicion should fall upon them. But where is this going to lead? The political climate of the country? Well, that only time will tell, Sanya.
Absolutely, Kabir. Thank you for taking us through all the details and the past cases, also trying to draw a comparison and distinction between what it was earlier and what it is now going forward, how this is going to impact all the politicians who have some serious cases leveled against them. But there are several political reactions that have come in on the story, especially with the opposition parties mounting attack against the government, saying that it's a draconian bill brought about by the government. Let's take a listen. Well, there has been several issues pertaining to the bill. They also feel, as far as the opposition is concerned, that why wasn't the opposition taken into confidence before the introduction of this bill, especially at a time during the monsoon session of the parliament that has so far been a washout, where there is very little legislative business of the house that has been done so far, with the opposition raising the issue of the SIR. Let's listen in to the objections raised by the opposition leaders.
Sir, this violates principle of separation of powers, due process, undermines the right of the people to elected government. Sir, it gives executive agencies a free run to become judge and jury executioner based on flimsy allegations, suspicions, sir. Sir, only when an offence is proved beyond reasonable doubt, then only you can leave the post and the membership. But here a mere accusation, allegation, the punishment of losing one ministerial post will follow. Sir, parliament democracy's chief ministers and ministers can only be removed through true means. First, executive prime minister can recommend their removal if the second council of ministers lose confidence of the legislature. Now, this bill would empower the unelected executive bureaucracy to play the role of legislature. Sir, it undermines representative parliament democracy. This amendment would leave the minister and CM at the mercy of executive agencies. The severity of the amendment is not only in the fact that one loses their position if they are arrested, but even if they are detained. Detention and administrative action doesn't require offence to be made. Sir, the chief minister will not be able to accountable people.
Now, according to sources, Amit Shah is holding a meeting with Piyush Goyal and Kiran Rijiju over initiating action against MPs responsible for misconduct in the House. Now, after the uproar and protest by the opposition party leaders, the bill has now been sent to a joint parliamentary committee. Amit Shah had to shift from his allotted front row seat to the third row in order to table the bill, as opposition members created a ruckus near the Treasury benches. As a precaution, marshals were also deployed inside the House while the bill was being introduced. And reacting to the ruckus, MP Anurag Thakur said that the opposition could have protested from their respective seats, but instead they crowded near the Home Minister's bench, shouting and throwing torn copies of the bill. He asked, what kind of democracy is this?
बहुत स्पष्ट आपको कैमरास में दिख भी जाएगा कि विपक्ष के सांसद जो अपनी कुर्सियों पर खड़े होकर विरोध कर सकते थे, वो अपनी सीटों से भी निकल कर आगे आए। वो अपनी विपक्ष की तरफ खड़े हो सकते थे, वहाँ खड़े नहीं हुए, लेकिन वो सत्ता पक्ष की बेंचेस की ओर आकर और विशेष तौर पर गृह मंत्री जी के सामने आकर पहले हल्ला किया, हुल्लड़बाजी की, पेपर के टुकड़े किए और पेपर के टुकड़े देश के गृह मंत्री जी पर फेंके और उनके चेहरे पर फेंके। क्या विरोध करने का ये तरीका ठीक है? क्या ये लोकतंत्र को शर्मसार नहीं करता? क्या जानबूझकर इस बिल का विरोध करने के लिए विपक्ष इतना गिर गया कि आज लोकतंत्र को शर्मसार किया है और भ्रष्टाचार का साथ विपक्ष ने दिया है?